Hello there, welcome. We're back for part 3, finishing up talking about my current, as of, this is April 2021, talking about my Switch collection here. So let's get right to it with a game sitting on the top of a stack that is one of the few that I've still left sealed, not just because I haven't played it, but because I haven't even, necessarily bothered to really look at it. But I remember buying this game. This is Real Fishing road trip adventure, and it is still published by Natsume and everything. And I do like Natsume's approach to almost everything, including the Real Fishing games that they're just very relaxing and everything. And I remember the reason that I bought this game was because of something that I find myself doing every now and then these days, which is almost buying something out of spite for the game buying audience at large, who buy things without knowing what they are, even when you're not like me, who knows that this is going to go on a shelf and sit there, and you might not even really play it, but you're interested in it. It's something of interest that you think, oh, that's intriguing. I remember this coming up on Amazon for like $12 about a year ago. I want to say it was about a year ago. And it was $12, and it had like a 2.5-star review. And I'm like, oh, what did they do to? So when you see it on Amazon with low reviews, it has to be something that they messed up. And I want to know when games get messed up, and I want to know what went wrong. That's why I watch Matt McMuscles, and he talks about what happened. I just watched the Primal Rage 2 episode today. I loved it because it's about the sequel to one of my favorite arcade games that never really came out. So I'm looking at these Amazon reviews, and there's the same thing for all of them, basically, which is, this is a fishing game where you don't spend all of your time fishing because there's a story to it, where you have, a group of friends. It's a weirdly, anime, fishing game. We have, a group of friends that, are going on a road trip, literally says road trip adventure, to go and, fish and hit up fishing spots, and they're like, I don't need none of this dialogue and character development in my fishing game, and they give it 1-star rating. And I'm like, but you would have seen that from the fact that there are these characters, I don't know, maybe on the case it doesn't really show that, but it does show. I mean, it shows a scene right there. There is discussion, there is characters and stuff like that, and that ended up sounding more appealing to me than just a straight fishing game. And I don't think really Real Fishing has done this before. So this is only $12. I don't even know what the price is now. It might have gone back up because the people that would have wanted to buy a fishing game and just play a fishing game bought it and hated it and review bombed it, when they probably could have looked and given some level of research into it before they bought it. And so I was like, that sounds interesting, a story in a fishing game. I'll pick it up for $12, and so I have it for $12, and I don't know what it's going for now, but I'm glad that I bought this for $12 because I might actually be more interested than, any fishing game that's not Sega Bass Fishing, which is brilliant, in this game. So, I get this upset about, not upset, but this, and I think I talked about it with Baldur's Gate, the Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 pack. Look up what you're buying. Look at it. Do some research. Because you're the one who's going to get it home and want to play it right away. And you're buying it to play it. I'm buying this because it was $12 and I had some level of interest in it. I sit it on a shelf. I promise I will not talk about every game for 4 minutes. But that actually, starting it off, that had a story to it. Anyway, so moving on. Look up that game if that is an interesting sort of path that game has taken over the past year and a half it's been out. Resident Evil Triple Pack, yeah. This was a tough time convincing myself to even purchase this. This is the eventually, I knew I would get this because Resident Evil 4 is on the physical, and you would have Resident Evil 4 on a physical cartridge on the Switch. So, me, probably like a lot of people, wanted to just get this used and get the 4 cartridge. And I ended up paying $38 for this because eventually I was kind of like, well, I will play 5 and I will play 6. I will eventually play 6 again because I don't really like 6. I have a history with that game. It was in my PS3 when it died, and I was 75% done with the game. So I probably mentioned it before. But 5 I played again, actually. I've already played 5 again, and I really enjoyed it again. And 4, I've played 15 times, and I don't need to play it again just yet, but I'm glad I have it now on one of my favorite consoles. I have it on my 2 favorite consoles, essentially. Actually, all 3. Pretty much my 3 favorite consoles. I have it Switch, GameCube Original. Excuse me. I have there's a triple pack for the PS2 that has Resident Evil 4 in it, even though I didn't really need it. So yeah, I own Resident Evil 4 yet again. Probably the 15th, 16th, 17th time I bought them. But good to have. It is the unfortunate you only get a download code for 2 of the 3 games you're buying, but you know. Return of the Obra Dinn. Great game by the maker of Papers, Please. I just got this less than 2 months ago and already played it from the limited run Best Buy release. Great game, visual style, gameplay style, story, just so striking in so many ways. I think I went on and on about it in my pickups video, but yeah, so interesting. Look that game up. Risk of Rain 2. I had not played Risk of Rain before this game came out, but I've started to kind of have a thing about roguelike games because every game seems to want to be a roguelike now, and I've noticed talking about it in these videos where I've talked about the games in my Switch collection. But I did like the gameplay of Risk of Rain 2. I did really enjoy it. I played a little bit of Risk of Rain 1, which comes with this, and I liked it, but I probably would have liked it more if I played that first than going back to it after a couple rounds of Risk of Rain 2. But a really, really cool exploration collection multiplayer online. Yeah, team up with 4 people. I haven't done that, but I did enjoy this. Rocket League. I believe Rocket League, since these multiple physical releases that they've done, I bought it on PS4 and I bought it again on Switch because I love Rocket League. I haven't played it in a long time, but I do love Rocket League. I'm really into it. But I think they've embraced free-to-play, so you don't really have to pay for this anymore. Which is fine, though, because, Rocket League's a brilliant game, and the more players, the better it is. I should probably give it a shot again, just to see what they've added since they've done the free-to-play thing. But I'm just glad that you can have this on physical, and you can play, like, offline season with AI, because that's always what I want to do, is I just want to, like, not feel the pressure of other people and just keep playing over and over again and not have to get better, but get a little bit better as you do. Another game from the time when I was buying every Nicalis game, this is Runner 3. I had yet to play a runner game at the time that this came out, but I was really excited to try it because a rhythm-based not endless runner, but running platformer. That comes with a lot of little things in here. Keychain. Commander Video is his name. One of those tiny mini disc soundtracks, and an instruction booklet. And it's just got a lot of cool visual flair and everything. I played it for a bit. It was kind of cool. I've got other Bit Trip stuff, but this is like the one Bit Trip game that has like kind of morphed into its own thing. Oh god, why did I buy this? Because this is torture for me. A really, really cool and really brilliant game that I'm just not set up for. This is 2D Souls, Insult and Sanctuary here. I think, honestly, the manual is the main reason that I bought this, manual and maps and stuff. Thankfully, my girlfriend, who has the mindset for torturous video games, has played this and said it's really, really good, but I didn't make it very far. Scribblenauts Showdown, another game I haven't actually played yet. I bought this when it was, I think, $15 or less. Because I do like Scribblenauts, and this is a party Scribblenauts game. I still don't really know how that works, but it's meh from what most people have said. But meh for a Scribblenauts game that I could only pay like $15 to have a Switch game of. I was like, yeah, I'll take it. It's fine. Great value, as always with these Sega Genesis classics. I just by only playing one game, because I'd already played the first one, and I wanted to go back and get the second one. Last year I played off of this, Shining Force 2, which I put, the requisite amount of, 30 to 40 hours in. Believe it or not, I did. Just that, paying $25 for this game to get a game that's very expensive in the original. Even if I already owned Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection, and I think it's on the first one, the PS2 one, I might be wrong about that. But yeah, to you can look at any way you slice it. This is a great value of a collection. The 2 Shining Force games are on here. They added Gunstar Heroes in here finally, and Toe Jam and Earl. So like a lot of games on here, and a good handful that weren't on the previous ones, which is really, really nice. The one thing it's missing, as many of these are, is Sonic 3 and Knuckles, which I am glad to say I can play on Sonic Mega Collection. It's a good way to play it. But like, yeah, really not a lot else that's missing here. I have to have it. Shaku, The Legend Reborn. This is a fine beat 'em up. It's fine. It's cringy and yeah, it's very silly. It's all right. It's it's Shaku, and you don't have to spend very much to get your hands on this anymore. I'm really not going to talk about it any further. Look it up for yourself. It's okay. This Shelter Generations, basically the game that made me go, maybe I don't have to buy all of these games anymore, because as beautiful and as pretty looking as this game is, a collection of games where you play as a lynx, exploring the wilderness and guiding the way for her cubs. I didn't really know what I was doing in this game, and it's one of those games that I really appreciated the look, the design, the art, everything visual and everything emotional. But I think they forgot to make a game, was all I could say. I could be completely wrong about this. People might have loved this game for everything, including gameplay, but this was one it didn't catch with me. And that is Super Rare Games release number 3. And I don't think I've bought any since, but it's not because I don't want to get burned again. It's because they haven't really jumped out at me. One of the VGNY soft releases that I really, really did want, the Shmup Collection by Astroport, which has 3 games on it. These names might mean nothing to you. Armed Seven, Cetasius Next, and Wolf Flame. I hadn't heard of any of them either, but they're supposed to be, good indie, homebrew-esque shoot-em-ups. One of which you can actually get as a physical on the Dreamcast from VGNY Soft as well. But shoot-em-ups. This is the other game that they had released previously on the Wii U, and I was bummed that I couldn't get it because it was a PAL release. They could only print it on PAL discs, I guess. So knowing that they were doing this, I was like, oh yeah, absolutely, give that to me. Signed up. Civilization 6. This is a game that I think is cheap because it's a marketing strategy. Because, like I said with the Real Fishing game, when a game is pretty much cheap across the board on every system, or not every system, but on every site, on every marketplace, a game that is this big is, Civilization 6 is not a budget game by any means. But you can get this for $15, all the time. It never goes above that at this point. And I saw it for $15 last year, not that long after it had come out, and I was like I said with Real Fishing, what did they do? What did they mess up? What did they break? Why can you get this for $15? And this didn't have any horror stories, didn't have any problems really. I think anybody who really said that it was broken or anything like that is heavily exaggerating, because this really, really works. And I highly recommend, if you have any interest in Civilization, give this a try. I played this for basically the entirety of one day last year, and I realized this is your biggest time suck that you can get, because you will always want to play one more. And I'd never really done Civilization before, so this is my first experience with it. I always wanted to keep going, and if I ever start up another game of it, I will get the same thing. I will get one more. I will not put it down. So Civilization 6 on the Switch. Do not be put off by the cheap price. Pick it up if you have any interest, because you will get your money's worth out of it. I promise. Really, really glad to own that. One of a handful of, not a handful, but one of the times that a really cool, exciting shooter kind of disappoints me, Synomora Ex. I think this is a horizontal shoot 'em up with full 3D graphics and everything like that, and it has a story. It has a story that is really, really dark. And when they told me that, I was like, okay, if you're giving me a heavy dose of story in your shoot 'em up, I'm really, really interested, because I want to get a taste of that gameplay. And if you're going to talk about, the horrors of war, and I mean, there's like sexual assault and stuff like that, just from what I've played out of it, I was like, that's really interesting. But I was a little bit frustrated because it is shoot 'em up level hard. Like, it is a difficult game. I had a tough time with it. You might have had an easy time with it, and you might think I'm new, but like, I don't think I'm great at shmups. I just like them, but like, I would have thought I'd be able to progress in the game fairly easily when there's a story going on that they really want me to figure out, and really want to display to me. So I didn't make it that far in this game, and I put it down. And I've been meaning to pick it up again to try and experience that story, and I just haven't gotten around to it. Slain Back from Hell. This is the version published by Merge. I almost bought this on PS4 a long time ago, too. Another game I have to try again because it was really hard and it kind of put me off, but I have been told over and over again that I would love this game. And I don't know what it was, I just couldn't get into the gameplay, I couldn't get into the dodging, whatever it was. You have a heavy metal style Castlevania. The dude's literally throwing up the metal horns on the cover, which might be a little bit cringy. But yeah, a game that I can absolutely see why I think I would like it. I did pick it up, and I'm glad that I own it and have it at my disposal to play again. But I'm just not good at it, and I never got the chance to really get used to it. Slime Sand Super Slime Edition. This is another platformer, a limited run release platformer that I haven't spent a lot of time with, but looks adorable. Pixel art style platformer. God, I ordered so many like limited runs and super rare games and stuff. I really need to put some time into just playing those. Snipper Clips Plus, adorable, great original Nintendo published title that originally I think was only eShop and then came to a physical, and I was like, hey, even if nobody ever wants to play this with me, I definitely want this because it's Nintendo. And I have actually played a bit, and it's awesome. It's really, really good co-op game. I've played a good handful of levels in this couple hours of it. I highly recommend it, especially if you want couch co-op. Like, really, really good stuff. SNK 40th Anniversary Collection. This is a game I was actually really, really hyped for a long time, too. Because I think there was on the PSP, there was a Volume 0 SNK collection, the pre-Neo Geo collection, and I always kind of wanted to get it on an import, and I never did. And this is essentially what that is. Highlights of this include like Crystallis and multiple versions of games, like including Guerrilla War and Ikari Warriors, all three of them, and all kinds of stuff. And it's very, very hit and miss. Their time back then, very hit and miss, because I feel like a lot of games do one or two things wrong, and it just keeps them from being fully enjoyable. But just the variety and the sort of like covering all their bases on the games that are in here, I think is a really good collection. Speaking of SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy, basically just got this because it looked like a decent fighter, and I think it was like $20 when I picked it up. I like SNK, I like their fighting games, even though I'm bad at it, and I don't know any of the characters, but this is supposed to be this is sort of like getting Gals Fighters on the Neo Geo Pocket. Same idea, like, oh, we have women, and you can play an all-women, heavily sexualized version of our fighting games. One of the only games for the Switch that you'll see that is $10 or so, Soldam Drop Connect Erase. Why do you think I bought this? Because it's about $10. I've tried to let this game grab hold of me and get me really excited and addicted to it, and it hasn't really happened. And so what? It was like $10. It might grab you, because I don't think it's a bad puzzle game or anything like that. But I gave it a shot. It wasn't great. It wasn't amazing or anything, but it's fine, and it's not a lot of money. This 2-pack of games that I talked about on my most recent pickups video, Super Monkey Ball, Banana Blitz HD, and Sonic Forces. Well, I played Super Monkey Ball. It's not as good as the old ones. Which is a real shame now, because if you think about it, there's more not great Super Monkey Ball games than there are good ones. The only really good ones are 1 and 2, which is such a shame. But I had not played either of these, and I was thinking about it. I put off getting this when it was $30 for so long because what I said was I would probably pay $15 for the Monkey Ball, and if it's disappointed, I only spent $15. And I would probably pay $15 for Sonic Forces, and if it's disappointing, I only spent $15. But paying for both of them at once and paying $15 each for them on one cartridge and paying $30 for a game that's supposed to have 2 games in it, and I didn't like either of them, that was going to kill me. So I haven't played Sonic Forces yet. My hopes are not that high. But I kind of bit the bullet on this because these 2 packs, they're always kind of worth getting in the end. Super Monkey Ball. What did they do to you? What did they do to you? Like, I never even played it on the Wii. Like, I'm serious. I did not play that. Alright, next. Space Invaders. Forever. Great little collection of three heavily updated, like, Space Invaders games. There's no original on this, but you get Space Invaders Gigamax 4 SE, lots of letters and numbers. You get a port of the first Space Invaders Extreme, and you get Arkanoid versus Space Invaders. I haven't played that third one, but the first 2 are really, really fun. The first one with many people, and the second one Extreme by yourself. Just really good ways to update Space Invaders, both of them. SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. I was disappointed to see this not get good review scores or anything like that, even with added modes that didn't really pan out, but I do love obviously the original. This was kind of like a game you have to pick up just because it's of the game that it is Battle for Bikini Bottom. Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Everyone's kind of got their choice between Crash and Spyro. I'm more on the Crash side because I don't do that well with the open world stuff unless it's very specific, like it's Banjo-Kazooie or it's Mario. So as a kid, I played a lot less Spyro, and I don't have the memory or the muscle memory, so to speak, of where everything is, what to do with everything. But I do like the Spyro games in general. These are really well done remakes, but I haven't spent a ton of time on them because I'm not as invested in them as I am in like Crash. Star Wars Pinball. This is awesome. I love pinball games. I love getting the preservation of original pinball tables on video game software versions. This is not what that is. This is all original tables by Zen Studios, who do a bang-up job with pinball effects. And they're very, very, like, if they're not going to be real tables, they need to really take advantage of being a video game, and this does definitely. So if you like Star Wars and you like pinball, like this $20 or so game, definitely worth it. Starlink Battle for Atlas. This is obviously just the game. I have the starter set and everything, which I bought because it has Fox in it, and it was super, super cheap when I bought it. It's fine. The Twist of Life thing was never really gonna grab me that much anyway. I really, really just wanted to see, like, what can you get out of Star Fox in this game. The answer is not much. It's whatever. I do think if you do like the Twist of Life thing and you do like the space battle thing, like I said, I didn't really care for Everspace either. So kind of same deal. Like if this is more your speed of a space shooter exploration game, then go for it. The Starlink thing will work for you. I really just wanted to show people, through my wallet that I will buy things if you put Star Fox in them. Speaking of pinball games, great Stern Pinball Arcade. Stern is kind of the weird one because out of the three big companies that have gotten Pinball Arcade / Pinball Hall of Fame games, Williams, Gottlieb, and Stern. Stern's claim to fame is really that they do all the licensed ones, which kind of looks weird. And it looks weird, especially when you know that the things that they're based on didn't do well. So if you read off the back of the list here, Stern Pinball, they did Star Trek, AC/DC, Mustang, as in Ford Mustang. Like, they don't really have originals. They have High Roller Casino, which might even be a license in and of itself. So it's really weird that not only it's that all they do, but that you got to have these licensed pinball tables go into a video game. But they are really, just like with any of the pinball arcade games, they're really, really well done. I don't get as excited over these ones as I do actually over the originals, but that is fine with me. Actually, the Bally ones that are in the Pinball Arcade, Bally should get its own little sub release, basically, I think. Street Fighter. 30th Anniversary Collection. I'm way more interested in this sort of a collection approach to things than I am in the ultra 10-word title Street Fighter 2 release that they did. And I have played this, and I've never really been big into Street Fighter. The one thing that I think they did on this that I didn't like is they didn't make it so that you could fire up the game and say, I want to play Street Fighter Alpha 2, just that game. Or I want to play Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. Or I want to play Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. And I want to play that game with with those characters, with those arenas, that music, all of the bells and whistles that made that game. They really just kind of jumbled all of the stuff together. This is what I remember from playing it. I thought it was so weird. You basically you get kicked back to the menu every time you finish a fight, and you go, okay, now who do you want to play as? What do you want to do? And I was like, that's a little bit. I might not be describing it exactly right, but it's not 12 separate games that you select one game and then you play just that game until you're done with it, and then back out to the menu, and then it's really weird. Anyway, moving on. I'm not the Street Fighter expert, so I won't go too far into it. I did think the layout was very strange, though. Streets of Rage 4, limited run, great game. I've only done one run through of it, but it was great run through. It beckons to be played again because there are 17 characters in it. It's really great, really well done representation of the Streets of Rage franchise, which is, if you ask me what's some of the best games on the Genesis Classics, Streets of Rage. Golden Axe too, but Streets of Rage. The game that's going to be worth $1 million in 10 years, Super Mario 3D All-Stars, because they definitely limited it and they didn't make enough. But I've already played 2 of these all the way through. My first 120 run on Mario 64 that I ever did was actually on this, and I finally played Mario Sunshine. I do need to pop in Mario Galaxy and play that, especially with the slightly different control scheme. But I mean, I didn't expect full revamps of these, but I'm glad I own this on the Switch. I would easily pay $20 to have each of these available to me on Switch, so never complained that they didn't do much with them. Mario Odyssey, another game that I finished very quickly and put a lot of time into, but never went back to, much like Breath of the Wild. So I know it deserves my time to go back to, but it's so tough when you have so many games that you want to play for the first time. That's just how it is. Super Mario Party. The great tragedy of this game is there's only 4 boards and no DLC. I would gladly pay money for 2 more boards. 2 more boards in this game. That's all you gotta do. Because I think they did a great job with recreating the old formula. So many characters, so many game modes. I can't believe you have so many game modes in this game and no boards. You have 4. So please, Nintendo, don't forget that you made this game, for God's sake. It is really fun, though. The content that is here is top-notch for Mario Party. There's just not enough of it. There just needs to be more. Super Meat Boy, first time I ever played and finished Super Meat Boy from this limited run. I think this is the Best Buy release as well. Tight, pixel-perfect platforming. Always going to be signed up for that. And this, like I said, was the first time that I actually played it. Can't go wrong. And also, Edward McMillan, whose name I might have mentioned way back on Binding of Isaac, and not mentioned since, I don't think, but I will mention him again before the end of this video in 5 games. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, of course, it's great. I've put quite a few hours into it, although I have not bought any DLC for it, because unless I have to absolutely have every single character, I don't want to buy 1 or 2. I'm just weird about it like that. So the fact that every single character up to that point is in here already, and the other characters other than Banjo-Kazooie are mostly from games I don't really care about. I'm just talking about DLC. I mean, this is great, though. This is a beautiful, well done game. Supermarket Shriek, one of the only times I've ever seen a meme first, gameplay second game come out. I say as I'm wearing a fucking Arthur's Fist shirt. Supermarket Shriek. It could have had a lot of other skins on it. and the one that they went with is funny for the meme potential. And I did enjoy the gameplay though. You use the triggers to propel your shopping cart around an various obstacle courses of stores, various kinds of stores with obstacles and different objectives to do in each one. It is fun, but it's only $25, so it does get old, and that's not really a huge deal. It could have been done. It could have been done with a lot of different flavors to it, though. Oh, remember this game, Sushi Striker, The Way of the Sushido? I think I bought this for $15, and it's not even that expensive now, especially on 3DS. Oh my god. But yeah, I didn't want to buy it on 3DS. I was like, if I'm going to buy this game, I'm going to buy it on Switch, and then basically never play it because nobody else has really bothered with it. Sorry to say. I think no, definitely not the last one. Another VGNY soft release. This is more of a top-down, or it's an isometric style, but a commando style shooter with an isometric viewpoint. Looks pretty cool. Looks kind of fun. Haven't played it yet. Yeah. Team Sonic Racing. I loved one of my favorite games on the Wii U. Sega and Sonic Racing. Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed. That's the title. It's a long title with a lot of extra words added on from the first one. With that, I'm actually surprised I have not really gotten into Team Sonic Racing. I think all the extra Sega stuff was the reason that I was so into it. Like, I played that Transformed one. I played that to get Gilius Thunderhead from Golden Axe. Like, that was I can beat the game, but I won't be finished with it until I've unlocked Gilius from Golden Axe. And so, without a lot of the extra Sega flavor on it that I like so much, I just don't have as much of an interest in this game, even though the gameplay from Sumo Digital is still going to be really good. And also, I just don't think that the cars that they're driving, I feel like there's a lot of character missing. I don't know. So I need to actually play it more to have that be a fair judgment of it. But I haven't played it because it doesn't have the bells and whistles that I really liked about the one from before it. Tetris 99, the physical release that upped my extra 12 months of Switch Online. I haven't played this in a long time. I never even played Super Mario 35, and I haven't played Pac-Man 99 yet. But Tetris was always going to be the one that would draw me in out of any of those games. Love Tetris. Never won. That's also my problem that I need to go back to this for. I never won in Tetris 99, and that has frustrated me for a long time. I think I've got number 2. I've never won. Another Edmund McMillan game, The End Is Nigh. I really, really liked this. As soon as it came out, I got super into it. I was like, this is brilliant. But at the end of the day, it didn't really have that much content to it or much to keep me invested. And so as good of a game as I think this is, mechanically, I don't know what it is. I just ultimately, it's not a game that you have to pick up on the same level of Isaac or Super Meat Boy from the guy's catalog. I do like that he got to make something a little bit different, and it's really enjoyable. But ultimately, I was way more excited about this the week that it came out than I ever have been about it again. Thimbleweed Park. This is the number 1. This is the first limited run release for the Switch. I'm glad that I got it. It is famously a LucasArts style adventure, point-and-click adventure game, basically right out of the Scum engine. And like LucasArts games, I kind of got lost with it and didn't really follow through on it, but I am glad that I played it, experienced the humor, experienced the art style, the setting, all of that, and that I have the original pre-order version of the first limited run release for Switch. Here's another Nicalis game that I really enjoyed right away and then never really cared about after more than 8 to 10 hours of gameplay, really. Tiny Barbarian DX, another 2D platformer adventure game. It was fine. I really did enjoy it. I think mechanically it's a really solid game, but nothing ever really kept me interested in it or kept me excited to say, like, hey, yeah, this is a really great game. You gotta get this. And this is one that I probably wouldn't have bought if I wasn't like, I want every Nicalis game that comes out. God, you'll see. I'm already seeing I have several more Nicalis games. So another one that's fine and has, if you're an old school style fan, then definitely like worth a look. It's more games like that I can also name too. But yeah, out of Nicalis' selection, that's definitely not my favorite. Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes. It is exciting to have a third No More Heroes, true third No More Heroes game coming out. This is sort of a weird in between where he gets sucked into what's basically a Sega Genesis, and you get a top-down hack and slash. I haven't played it yet, but I do think it's really cool. I know it disappointed a lot of No More Heroes fans because it wasn't No More Heroes 3. And that's sad, but it wasn't promised. It's sort of a weird in-between, like, you didn't get what you wanted, but you weren't told you were getting what you wanted. But maybe if you hadn't got this, you would have got what you wanted sooner. I don't know, I'm just sort of like, I liked No More Heroes 1. I'll buy whatever has No More Heroes on it, as long as it's not complete garbage. God, I don't remember why I actually pulled the trigger on buying this, because I have not played it yet. Try an Ultimate Collection. I think I was worried that this was going to be a really short release, and I think I'm wrong about that. But Trine 1, 2, 3, and 4, various character-based puzzle platformer, which have looked really cool, and I've been interested when I get the time to actually have like co-op with it. I think that's mainly what's having me putting it off, because I just don't want to play it by myself because it's supposed to be a multiplayer-focused game. But yeah, you got all 4 of them. These are fairly well received from my understanding, so cool to have. Now next, these are purely collection purposes releases, obviously, for me to have. Turok 1 and 2 physical re-releases. I like the first one considerably more than the second one, but that's mostly because I played the first one when I was a kid, and I have never played the second one until I was basically an adult. But yeah, just having both of them physical releases is a really big deal for me. Night Dev Studios did a great job making it look great, making it feel great on the Switch, and I think they just released Shadow Man Remastered on the Steam store, and I'm dying for that to get a Switch release because I just played Shadow Man last year, and I loved it. So, same vein as these games, like remake that, polish it up, make it look nice, and I will pay you for it. I will pay you for Shadow Man just like I paid you, $30 each for the Turoks. I actually bought this on the eShop when it released on the eShop, and then bought it again on the physical. I should have bought the N64 box versions though. Damn. Turok and Flashback. I'm glad that I actually popped this in and tried it, and even though I knew I wasn't gonna finish the game or play it all in one sitting or anything, I had never played a Turrican game before, so this is a really really good collection of games that are kind of tough to get your hands on. So that's Turrican 1, Turrican 2, which are Amiga games, yeah. And then Super Turrican, which is the Super Nintendo one, and Mega Turrican, which is the Genesis one. And the thing that actually I'm the most interested in, I listened to them separately from playing this game, was the soundtracks. I mean, and this is Factor 5, who just are great with sound. Like, I will look at them as the pinnacle of N64 sound hardware because of what they did with Rogue Squadron on the N64. And I forget the guy's name, but yeah, just whatever he'd been doing for his entire time working at Factor 5. Bravo, man, because I mean the soundtrack is one of the best parts about these games, which are great Metroid style shooters anyway. One of the other few that I haven't actually opened yet, 2 Point Hospital from Sega. This is a spiritual reboot successor to Theme Hospital. Very, very silly like sim game, and I need to be in the right frame of mind, just like I was for Civilization 6. Which I've literally only played once. I will probably, if I pop this in, I'll probably play it for an entire day. But I have to be in the right mind to do that. But this has received some pretty high praise though. So another Nicalis title. This is one I actually don't think I picked up on release. I was just interested in it afterwards. Umihara Kawase Fresh, which is a sequel. I I forget if it's supposed to be a modern sequel or a actual remake of an old game for the Super Nintendo that didn't come out here. A platformer with like rubber bands and you swing around. I don't actually know the full extent of the gameplay on this game. I do think it's a cool looking platformer. Untitled Goose Game. What a great time. What a great 4 hours of gameplay this is. I say that, but I really do mean that. I think it's a great game. Quirky. There's really not a whole lot like it. Pick this up. It's funny. It's charming. It's adorable. It's hectic. And it's got all... actually, my favorite thing about this, of course, is the shopping catalog that's in here. There's a map. There's a full map and a shopping catalog. I gotta remember to actually keep showing off the stuff that's in here. There's a sticker. There's no Goose sticker. It's so great. There's a whole reason you do a physical collection video and then you fucking forget to actually show people what's in them because you've forgotten yourself. There's a whole map of the village. It's so good. And yeah, it's all the little items that you can pick up in the game in this little shopping catalog. And you can tell when I really, really like the games because going through the physical versions and the physical goodies just puts a smile on my face. And Untitled Goose Game does that for me. Val Ferris. Another... Similar to Turrican, actually. Very similar to Turrican. Very, very difficult and very, very... I would say this is almost more heavy metal than Slain, just for the way that it doesn't phone in the heavy metal part, like having the guy on the front throw up metal horns. I'm not saying you can't do that, I'm just saying that there are some projects of all types of art that are inherently more metal in the sense of the way that people use that word than things that have just people throwing up metal horns, And I mean, even on the back it says skulls, gore, and metal in space, and it's really a bunch of things that make up for that. It's the art style, it's the gory the gory design and the crushing difficulty and the soundtrack, which is not I don't think it's a definitely a heavy metal guitar based soundtrack. It's just a very heavy aggressive soundtrack. It's really, really cool. Really, really hard. I had a really hard time with it. I played first couple levels and I really enjoyed it, but it was a retro style start the level again and do it, and it was tough. It was tough, man, but it was really, really good. The last of the VGNY soft games. This is Walaikia, Reign of Dracula. And like I said, these ones here. You can get this for $10 on the eShop, but I paid easily $30 for this and happy about it. Because this is a pretty blatant ripoff of Castlevania. We're not going to dance around it too much, but it's what people want. I mean, you can't deny that this is something that people would want, and I don't know what it is, but it has stuff from Bloodstained in it too. It's not made by Inti Creates or anything, but my number here on this one is 1120 of 5,000, so they actually did 5,000 copies of this, as opposed to 1,500 of the other ones. I think this and Shmup Collection, which were the two that I wanted anyway, were both 5,000. Another great game. I need to spend more time on this game, but Wargroove. All the Fire Emblem fans out there need to make sure that you try Wargroove, because that is what this game is. It is old Fire Emblem to a T, Advance Wars, if you will, as well. Just really, really good stuff. And look at this physical that comes with a big old map, nice map. A strategy manual that has rundowns of all of your units, which is great. Story, the little bit of the story that I did play is really solid. Stickers. There's a unit that is dogs. This is just a dog that is a unit that you can control. How adorable. Really, really well done. The bit of it that I've played, I'm very happy to have paid, I think, $25 for this. Absolutely. If you like a strategy, turn-based tactical game, this is a fantastic game. I'm upset that I haven't spent more time playing it and played it for longer. Wild Guns Reloaded. I remember jumping all over this when it originally came out physical for PS4, and also being like, man, this game's super hard. Nobody is ever ready for Wild Guns when they play it, either the original or on PS4 on this. And then I played it again after I got it for Switch, which is basically where it should live anyway, because it's a Super Nintendo original game. And God, it's hard. Even with the new character that's supposed to be like easy mode. But it's also really good. It's a gallery shooter, which not too many games do. But if you've never played this before, your character runs around in the foreground and all the enemies are in the background, like you're playing a shooting gallery. But they like shoot at you and you have to dodge around the foreground. Really, really well done. Really tough, but really good retro stuff. Windjammers. I'm disappointed to say that this is a game that I really like. When I played it on an MVS before, I really loved it. And God, I was always like, why don't we get this game? Why haven't we got this game physical? I think it's because it really works best as an arcade game, because I was super excited to get this on any home version physical, and realized that after playing it for a while, it's like, well, it is an arcade game. It's not one-dimensional in its gameplay, but there's not too much depth to it. But if you've never played Windjammers before, it is a mix of, like, if you played Disc Jam, which is also a blatant copy of Windjammers, it is a frisbee tennis hybrid where you like whip a frisbee back and forth at each other really fast and try to make someone mess up or miss it. I can't say like not to go get this game, because it is a great game, but also be aware that it is a 90s arcade game that's being upgraded, imported over here in just this game. So yeah, there's really not a lot of added content or anything in there. It's just a really good game. They got it released as a full Switch cartridge, which I realized is like, wow, that's a bit much. Wonderboy, The Dragon's Trap. I think this is the last Nicalis game, and Wonderboy, The Dragon's Trap, much like God, this is the same thing that they do all the time, except in this case, this is a full remake of one of the old Wonderboy games from the Master System, yeah. 2D adventure platformer. God, it sounds like I'm describing Tiny Barbarian, a game that was original, but they also published. It's really good stuff, and there are a lot of releases of this game. This is getting kind of a rare title to find, I think. But that might depend on the which actual version you have. And then, like Nicalis, we always have tiny little soundtrack that I'll never listen to because it's on the tiny one, and a manual, which is nice. Nice hand-drawn manual, which is cool. Wonderboy. The last of the super rare games releases that I have. This one I did not buy on release. I didn't pre-order this from them. I actually got this when it came in at work. The thing that really made me want to get this is the time period that it is set in. This is 120 AD. The Roman army has seized control of the south of Britannia. So you are these... I forget what the actual proper name is for it. The Northern Tribes, okay. Just a time period that you don't really see too much in video games or movies or anything, really. It's got this nice slipcover on it. This is a beat-em-up, hack-and-slash type game, very heavily inspired by Golden Axe. So if you say Golden Axe, I'm paying attention, basically. And I do want to play this. This is another game that I want to play because I want to play co-op with people. But it's got a manual and an art book and stuff. And, very nicely made and everything. God, a game that I should have put more than 20 minutes into, given how much I actually did want to play it. WWE 2K Battlegrounds. As most of you probably know, we didn't get a full 2K video game this year because 2K20 was garbage. Literal broken garbage. And this is what we got instead, which is kind of a nice consolation, and I do think it's a good game. I just never spent that much time on it. It's one of the few games that I popped in my Switch Lite and started playing a little bit, and then realized that it was the only game other than Pokemon that I can't transfer the save data on. The console, it's a very 2K thing to do, and I have no explanation. It's a very WWE thing to do, actually, with a little bit of 2K flavor in there as well. You have to play this on the console that you originally put the cartridge in on, unless you decide that you want to switch it over to another console like once. You cannot just save data to the cloud and pick it up on another console, which sounds like a really, really small complaint, but like I have two Switches. I have a Switch Lite and I have a regular. And this is like one of the only games in my collection that I cannot play in the living room and pick up on my portable, and that's super frustrating. But it is decently, done. WWE All Stars, the sequel, it's really good. It has a really big roster. It has cool locations and stuff. Pick it up on sale, but don't. It's supposed to tide you over. That's what it's supposed to do. One of my favorite games on the Switch, heavily underrated, Yoku's Island Express. This is actually a Metroidvania combined with pinball, basically. It is a pinball game. You push around this ball as this basically a dung beetle sort of thing, and get up all kinds of platforming challenges and everything, and then you enter into these tiny pinball room areas that you have to execute properly. It's so good. It's so charming, and I love this game. I blazed right through this game. It's so good. Not enough people have talked about this game. I thought it was great. Yomowari, the Long Night Collection. Ever since I got a Vita, I had been interested in the Yomowari games, but they've always been expensive. And what do you know? This game's also expensive now too. Good thing I got it. You should just, if you want a game published by NIS, you should just pick it up, because it won't ever get cheaper. It is a really nice presentation and really good art style version of the type of game that I'm not good at staying with, which is the you can't fight back type of horror game. Like, you can't fight back at all type of horror game. So there's a lot of content in here to get to, and I have just really not stuck with it. The main interest I have in playing these games again is for the monster design, which I think is really good, and the atmosphere. But the gameplay just is one of those things that never really jives with me, so. We're almost there. Ukulele and the Impossible Lair. I'm shocked that I have not actually finished this game yet, or made a good chunk of progress in it, because unlike the original Ukulele, which I picked up on PS4 and said, oh yeah, new Banjo-Kazooie style game, picked it up and then realized how badly it tried to be Banjo-Kazooie, just made by the same people and everything, but like just they really just wanted to make that game again, and I was just like, I don't care, I'll just play Banjo-Kazooie, or Rocket Robot, which I'm playing on N64 right now, or 10 other platformers that are just like this from the originals, than a game that you've recreated and that has the same issue of not respecting my time, and I have to think of, but you could have changed that part about it. Anyway, though, Ukulele and the Impossible Lair is more like Donkey Kong Country, and it's awesome. It's really, really well done platforming, just all around, with a really interesting layout too. I should have played more of this by now, but I haven't, but I will. And finally, Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist, Link Evolution. Game I basically bought because it is a modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Game, and the original Yu-Gi-Oh! Games on Game Boy Advance that I put hours and hours and hours into as a kid, and even in the past couple years, because they're really well done. This is the closest thing to that you will get on a real console and not on your phone or anything. And I do cards for work, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Has a lot of new mechanics that I've not seen because I haven't paid attention to the game in 17 years now. Or when I started doing cards, it was like 13 years, but still, there was 13 years of progress made on a card game that I didn't understand, and I wanted a game that I could play just so they could teach me those new mechanics, and yet people still tell me, yeah, if you are used to the old stuff and you haven't kept up with it, it's super hard and not really worth your time to pay attention to the new stuff. Most people don't use it anyway, is what I've been told. Most new players, or most older players who are trying to keep up with the game, a lot of them still don't use these new mechanics. They just don't bother with them. And when you fire this up, you go through the anime, which I remember watching the original with Yugi and Kaiba and stuff, and you get to play through the story mode on those through the whole season of the anime. And what was really funny about it was that I fired it up, and the only thing that I played was the first season of the anime. In other words, the basic rules of Yu-Gi-Oh! That I was familiar with. I learned nothing new. But if you're a Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan of any kind, this game actually does have something for you, because you could play any sort of period of time of Yu-Gi-Oh! With any set of mechanics that you want to, and the card pool of over 9,000 cards is really, really well done. It has a good interface as well to actually play the game with. Why can't you do it for Magic? Please. Please give me a real game. I don't want to play Magic Arena. I want to play a game on a console or on my Switch. That is Magic. That's all I want. I'm sorry. Like, Wizard, you keep giving me almost what I want. And but you don't. I'm sorry. Just give me this. Just give me exactly this game, but Magic. Alright. That's it. That's my whole Switch collection as of right now. This is almost an hour-long video. My voice is getting tired, and I want to go actually play some video games. Thank you for sticking with me through this. This is still growing. This is still changing, obviously. But I think at 4 years in, at this point in time, to show people what I have for my Switch collection right now is going to be wildly different than anybody else. And I thought it was a good time to take a look at what my experience with Switch collecting and Switch playing those Switch games that I've collected has been. I hope you agree. Goodbye.